What if the words you've been searching for your entire life were written 800 years ago? What if the confusion you feel, the anxiety you carry, the longing you can't explain, has already been understood by someone who saw deeper into the human heart than most of us ever will? Jalal ad-Din Rumi was not just a poet, he was a mirror. And today I want to walk you through 10 of his most powerful phrases, not just to admire them, but to understand them, to feel them, and maybe to let them change something inside you. Because Rumi doesn't write to impress your intellect, he writes to awaken your soul. The first phrase is this: "The wound is the place where the light enters you." At first glance, it sounds beautiful. But when you really sit with it, it's almost uncomfortable, because we spend so much of our lives trying to avoid wounds. We hide them, we distract ourselves from them, we numb them. But Rumi suggests something radical. Your pain is not your enemy. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the rejection, the failure, they are not interruptions in your life. They are openings. Think about it. Before the wound, you were closed in some way, certain, rigid, attached, and then something breaks you. And through that crack, something new enters. Humility, compassion, awareness, depth. The light doesn't enter through your perfection. It enters through your fracture. So instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" maybe the deeper question is, what is this opening inside me trying to show me? His second powerful phrase says, "What you seek is seeking you." And this one changes everything if you let it, because most of us live in pursuit. We chase love, we chase success, we chase peace, we chase purpose, and we assume these things are outside of us, running away from us. But Rumi flips the direction. What if the longing you feel is not proof of lack, but proof of connection? You don't feel hunger for something that doesn't exist. You feel hunger because food exists. You don't thirst for water in a universe where water is impossible. So if you feel a deep longing for meaning, for love, for truth, maybe that longing itself is evidence that it is already moving toward you. Maybe your desire is not random. Maybe it is a magnetic pull between you and something that already belongs to you. The question then becomes, are you aligning yourself with it, or are you running in the opposite direction out of fear? Another phrase that carries immense depth is this: "Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion." Read that again slowly. Most of us shrink ourselves daily. We silence our voice to avoid conflict. We dim our light to avoid judgment. We settle for less because we doubt our worth. But Rumi reminds us that you are not a tiny, isolated being struggling in a cold universe. You are an expression of it. The same force that moves galaxies moves your breath. The same intelligence that orchestrates the stars beats your heart without your permission. When you belittle yourself, you are denying the vastness that lives through you. Acting small is not humility. Sometimes it is fear disguised as modesty. And the tragedy is not that you fail. It's that you never allow yourself to expand. Then there is this piercing line. Why are you so busy with this or that or good or bad? Pay attention to how things blend. We live in a world addicted to labels. This is success. That is failure. This is right. That is wrong. This relationship was good. That one was bad. But Rumi invites us into a more subtle awareness. Life is rarely divided into clean categories. The heartbreak that destroyed you also matured you. The mistake you regret also redirected you. The person who hurt you also revealed your boundaries. Opposites are constantly blending, shaping each other. When we obsess over judging every experience, we miss the deeper flow underneath it all. And maybe wisdom is not about choosing sides. Maybe it is about seeing the whole. And this leads us naturally into another one of his transformative phrases, one that begins to challenge the way we see our own identity. Because Rumi doesn't just question how we interpret our experiences, he questions who we believe we are within them. He writes, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." Most people hear this as a motivational quote, but it is far more destabilizing than that. If you are the ocean in a drop, then your identity is not limited to your job, your past, your traumas, or even your name. We tend to define ourselves by what has happened to us. I am anxious. I am broken. I am behind. I am not enough. But these are surface waves. They rise, they crash, they disappear. The ocean beneath them remains vast and untouched. Rumi is pointing to something deeper than personality. He is pointing to essence, the awareness behind your thoughts, the presence behind your emotions. When you identify only with the wave, every storm feels like annihilation. But when you remember you are the ocean, storms become movements within you, not threats to your existence, and that shift changes the way you experience suffering. Another phrase that cuts directly into the illusion of control is this: try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. Resistance is our default reaction. We resist aging. We resist uncertainty. We resist endings. We resist the version of reality that doesn't match our expectations. But resistance consumes enormous energy. It tightens the body. It clouds the mind. It keeps us in constant conflict with what already is. Rumi suggests something counterintuitive: allow. Not passive resignation, but conscious surrender. There is a difference between giving up and letting go. Giving up comes from defeat. Letting go comes from trust. When you let life live through you, you stop clinging to a rigid script. You become responsive instead of reactive. You stop asking, "How do I control this?" and start asking, "How do I move with this?" And in that movement, something softens, something opens. Then he offers a line that feels almost mystical: "Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames." This is not about chaos or recklessness. It is about aliveness. How many people are merely existing? Going through routines, repeating patterns, shrinking desires. Rumi speaks of fire as passion, purpose, devotion. To set your life on fire means to refuse mediocrity in your inner world. It means choosing growth over comfort, truth over approval, depth over distraction. And notice the second part: seek those who fan your flames. Environment matters. The people around you either nourish your becoming or quietly suffocate it. If you constantly surround yourself with those who fear risk, who mock ambition, who dismiss introspection, your fire will weaken. But when you are around those who are alive, curious, courageous, your own spark grows stronger. Growth is contagious. Another powerful statement from Rumi says, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." This line dismantles the ego gently but firmly. When we are clever, we focus outward. We analyze others. We criticize systems. We blame circumstances. And sometimes those critiques are valid. But wisdom turns the lens inward. It asks, what within me is reacting? What within me is rigid? What belief am I protecting? Changing yourself does not mean ignoring injustice or becoming indifferent. It means recognizing that the only territory you truly govern is your inner landscape. And when that landscape transforms, your actions in the world transform naturally. Real influence begins with inner clarity. And as we continue, Rumi introduces a phrase that feels almost like an invitation into vulnerability, into a deeper intimacy with existence itself. Because Rumi does not end with comfort, he ends with courage. One of his most intimate and confronting phrases says, "Where there is ruin, there is hope for a treasure." Ruin is not a word we like. It sounds final. It sounds like loss beyond repair. But Rumi uses it deliberately. Sometimes your plans must collapse. Sometimes the identity you built must crack. Sometimes the relationship you depended on must dissolve. Not to punish you, but to reveal what was buried beneath it. A treasure cannot be discovered in a locked, untouched room. It is found in excavation, in broken ground, in places that look abandoned. The ruin in your life may be the very site of your awakening, but only if you dare to look at it without turning away. And then there is this deeply liberating line. Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. Notice the word silently. Your deepest calling rarely screams. It whispers. It feels subtle. It feels irrational at times. Society's voice is loud. Fear is loud. Comparison is loud. But what you truly love is quiet and persistent. It keeps returning. Maybe it's a creative impulse. Maybe it's the desire to serve. Maybe it's the longing for a slower, more conscious life. We ignore it because it doesn't always make logical sense. But Rumi reminds us that this pull is not random. It is guidance. When you follow what you genuinely love, not what impresses others, not what earns applause, you move into alignment. And alignment creates a kind of peace that achievement alone never can. Finally, one of his most profound declarations: be melting snow. Wash yourself of yourself. This is perhaps the most challenging of them all. We spend our lives building an identity, protecting it, defending it, advertising it. And yet, Rumi invites dissolution. To melt is to release rigidity. To wash yourself of yourself is to let go of the constant narrative of me, my status, my image, my past, my wounds. It does not mean erasing your personality. It means loosening your attachment to it. When snow melts, it does not disappear. It transforms into water, more fluid, more adaptable, more free. In the same way, when you soften your ego's grip, you do not lose yourself. You become more expansive. If you step back and look at all 10 of these phrases together, a pattern emerges. The wound is light. The longing is mutual. The drop is the ocean. Change is not an enemy. Fire is aliveness. Wisdom begins within. Ruin hides treasure. Love pulls you forward. The self can dissolve into something greater. Rumi is not offering decoration for your social media feed. He is offering transformation. But transformation requires participation. It requires reflection. It requires that you don't just admire these words. You sit with them. You question yourself with them. You allow them to disturb you. So as you leave this video, don't just remember the quotes. Choose one that unsettled you, one that challenged the way you see your pain, your identity, or your future, and live with it for a while. Let it echo in your decisions. Let it confront your fears. Let it soften your defenses, because these words have survived centuries, not because they are poetic, but because they are true. If this reflection resonated with you, if even one of these phrases shifted something inside your perspective, then subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like so it can reach more people who may need these words right now, and share it with someone who is going through a difficult season, someone who might need to remember that their wound is not the end of their story, but the beginning of their light.